This is my go-to meal when I want to say, I love you. And I love crab cakes and stuffed mushrooms and shrimp cocktail too. Welcome to Thrifty Recipes. Today we're going to have one of those meals that you enjoy on New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day and anniversaries, or just for a treat for yourself. For the shrimp cocktail, I just happen to like Aldi. This video is not sponsored by any brand. I buy one bag of large frozen shrimp with the tail on. You have to thaw it in the bag in the refrigerator overnight, then rinse it well, remove any excess ice, pat dry, and keep it refrigerated. You'll also need 1 jar of cocktail sauce. I happen to like Aldi brand. And then you'll be arranging this in a small dish. Add the cocktail sauce and arrange the shrimp around the rim, but keep it refrigerated until ready to serve. Let's make crab cakes, Thrifty crab cakes. You'll need 1 box of stovetop dressing mix. That's my preferred brand, again not sponsored. Chicken or turkey flavored. 3/4 cup of water. 2 cans of crab meat drained very well. 1/3 cup of real mayonnaise, 1/3 to 1/2 cup of diced sweet onion. I like Vidalia. If you don't like onion, you can leave it out. 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice or 1 teaspoon of lemon juice concentrate. In a large bowl, combine the box of dressing mix and the 3/4 cup of water and mix very well. You want to make sure that all of the dry dressing mix is moist. Next, add 1/3 cup of real mayonnaise and stir very well. Next, add 1 tablespoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice or just 1 teaspoon of lemon juice concentrate. If you like a lot of lemon flavor, add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice concentrate. Next, add some diced onion. I'm using sweet Vidalia onion. Add it to your preferred taste, or don't add it at all. It's up to you. We happen to like the onion. Stir everything up and set it aside. It's time to prepare our crab meat. You'll need a strainer for this. You need to strain all of the water out of the crab meat. I think you'll be surprised how much water is in each can. Sometimes I do 1 can at a time. You'll need a fine strainer with small holes. So open up each can and empty it into your strainer. And remember, there's a paper liner in each can. So you want to remove the paper liner before you start pressing out the crab meat. Using the back of a spoon or a spatula, press the crab meat thoroughly until you've removed as much moisture, as much water as you can. As I said, this can take several minutes. That's why it's easier to do 1 can at a time. Let's add the crab meat to our stuffing mixture. Do you see how much water I removed? If you don't remove it, it will make your crab cakes soggy. Don't skip that step. Stir everything very well until the crab meat is distributed evenly. Next, cover your bowl with some plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator for at least 15 minutes, or you can refrigerate it overnight. This makes it easier to form the crab cake patties. As you see here, I have a large platter and I have a large scoop as well. This is a 1/3 cup scoop. Or you can make your crab cake patties by hand, just measuring it out. But by using this scoop, I get 7 crab cakes. Let's scoop up some crab cake mixture, leveling it off at the top of the scoop, patting it with our hands to make it firm in the scoop, and then release it into your hand and finish shaping it into a patty about a 1/2 inch thick. And I like to round out the edges of my crab cake. Repeat this process until you've used up all of the crab cake mix. You should have 7, maybe 8 if you did it by hand, nice size crab cake patties. Let's set the crab cakes aside for a minute and work on the stuffed mushrooms. You can use a whole container of mushrooms or a partial. I'm just using a few, enough for 2. I like to use portobello mushrooms, but you can use any kind that you like. You'll need about 1 tablespoon of butter or olive oil, 1/3 cup of dried breadcrumbs. I use a combination of Italian breadcrumbs and plain panko breadcrumbs. 1 teaspoon of wet minced garlic if you like garlic, or you could use a half a teaspoon of dried garlic spice, and then 1 tablespoon of grated Parmesan cheese, that's optional, and 1/3 to 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese, or any cheese that you'd like. The measurements do not have to be perfect when making stuffed mushrooms. You do want to rinse and pat dry the mushrooms to prepare them for baking. And I like to cut off a little sliver at the bottom of the stem. It's just something I do. And then I pull off the remaining stem and chop that up, dice it up fine to be used in the filling. And just repeat this process for all the mushrooms till you get all the stems separated. So I throw away that bottom slice and dice up, as I said, the rest of the stem. Dice it up pretty fine because you're going to be stuffing this back into the mushroom cap. I don't show it here, but find a small baking dish, spray it with nonstick spray, put all your mushroom caps in the dish with, of course, the bottom facing up so that you can stuff the mushroom caps, and set your diced up mushroom stems aside for right now. This is the time to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Let's brown those crab cakes a little bit before we put them in the oven. I just love the crispy edges on the crab cake. You'll need a large skillet and about 1/4 inch of olive oil or oil of your choice, and just medium heat, not too high. Using a spatula, let's carefully add the crab cakes to the hot oil. You might need a splatter screen, but again, don't have your oil too hot, just enough that it sizzles lightly. I have 7 crab cakes and I can fit all of them into my large skillet at one time. Fit as many as you can. I like to brown them about 2 to 3 minutes per side until they're light brown. You may want to use your timer for this. Let's jump back to the stuffed mushrooms that we're making. You'll need a small skillet. Add your butter or your oil to the skillet over medium heat. This is where it gets tricky. You have to keep an eye on those crab cakes at the same time we're prepping the filling for the stuffed mushroom caps. Check one of the crab cakes and see how it looks on the bottom. If it looks nice and light golden brown, get a good scrape underneath of it with your spatula and turn it over, and repeat the process for the remaining crab cakes. Again, browning them about 2 to 3 minutes on the other side. Since we're going to put the crab cakes in the oven to finish heating them all the way through, you'll need a small cookie sheet or a small jelly roll pan with sides like I'm using here, and spray that with some nonstick spray. When the crab cakes are nicely browned on each side, place them in the pan that you've chosen to go into the oven. Just let them sit there while we work on the mushrooms for a few minutes. You don't want to put them in the oven too soon. You don't want them to dry out. Back to the filling for the mushrooms. In my small skillet, I have the butter or olive oil if you chose that. The chopped up mushroom stems are sauteing, and I add some wet minced garlic. Stir that up a little bit, still sauteing the mushroom stems. We're going to add some breadcrumbs. You really don't have to measure this, but I'm adding some Italian seasoned regular breadcrumbs, and I'm adding some panko breadcrumbs. It all depends on how many mushrooms you're making, but I don't think you can ever have too much filling. You can always sprinkle it on top. After you add the breadcrumbs, just stir everything up again, and if need be, add some more butter or a little bit of olive oil. The goal is to make it all very moist. Let's take a minute and put the tray of crab cakes in the oven. Let's also place the dish of mushroom caps in the oven. Let's pre-cook them for about 10 minutes. Set your timer for 10 minutes. As you can see, I'm adding a little more butter to my filling for the mushroom caps. And if you'd like, you can add some grated Parmesan cheese. I just happen to have some left over from a local restaurant, so I'm going to add a pack. After about 10 minutes, remove the mushrooms, only the mushrooms, remove them from the hot oven. we're going to get ready to fill the mushroom caps. Using a spoon or your spatula, just take some of the filling that we just made for our mushrooms and fill each mushroom cap, patting it down as you go. And if you have any excess filling left over, just sprinkle it on top. But make sure they're all filled really good first and that you did pat it down. Next, you can top it with some more cheese. It can be some more grated Parmesan cheese, but I also like to add mozzarella cheese. So whatever kind of cheese you like, this is the time to top your mushroom caps. Place a dish of mushrooms back in the oven. Again, it's still at 375 degrees. And bake for 15 to 20 minutes or until the mushrooms are tender. You might just want to take a fork or a knife and check one of them and make sure they're tender. When the mushrooms are done, remove the tray of crab cakes from the oven and the dish of stuffed mushroom caps from the oven. Let's get ready to eat. Oh my gosh, these crab cakes look delicious, don't they? Time to serve everything up. A couple of crab cakes, several mushroom caps with all that melted cheese on them. I know this is a different kind of meal, but it's one of our favorite treats. And don't forget the shrimp cocktail that you have prepared in the refrigerator. Yum! Gourmet favorites on a Thrifty recipes budget. This meal may not be colorful, but I guarantee you it tastes wonderful. If you like these kind of videos, I appreciate a thumbs up. I want you to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And as always, thanks for watching. I'm Vicki with Thrifty Recipes. I'll see you soon.